somebody's, can you, yeah. Anybody else? Maybe that one? Can you check the, just make sure that it's all done.
That is on screen.
Okay.
Good.
So, yeah. Looks like we're live. Welcome everyone to the first Startup Grind of 2021. And we are here tonight at the Prager Dreyfus office, who's a new partner with us for this year in the startup ecosystem, especially here in Switzerland. And I guess you're going to give us a short introduction to the Startup Desk and what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, hello everyone and welcome to the Startup Desk. Let me briefly introduce you our team. So we have Mark Miley behind me.
Hello.
He is your corporate guy and advises on all corporate related matters. And he particularly loves to go to a restaurant and have fancy dinners, which he can't do actually because of, we know why. And then we also have Christian Schoenfeld. He advises on regulatory and data protection. And what he usually would be doing at this time is flying every weekend to London and have some afternoon tea, which is at the moment equally not possible. And also who would very much love to be here is our tax guy, Lucas Scherer. And he is very happy about the home office regulations because he doesn't like our office coffee, so for him home office was actually a relief. So he can do tax and do his own coffee at home. As to myself, I advise companies on all employment related matters. And what I like to do is to go to by startups and get to the office usually rather late, around 9:30, which is, as the studios are closed, not possible. And today we want to host this event in cooperation with StartupGrind because we know that home office is rather challenging and we want to mitigate the impact home office is having on companies and employees alike, and hope to create this space for creating an exchange and inspiration.
Yeah, so thank you very much for hosting us tonight and for providing the space. And we look forward as well this year to engaging with you and you engaging with the startups that are part of StartupGrind.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, I think I'll take your seat.
Sweet.
Let's see. How's that? It needs to be closer. All right. We have a new setup today. How's that? Does that work? And Elodie, on your side, can everyone hear okay?
You won't hear him.
But I guess Lorenzo will. Yeah, everyone's good. Cool. So this is pretty exciting that we have the opportunity to be here and do the live stream hybrid, semi-hybrid, in the sense that we have Maite and Aike here with us, as well as what's the puppy's name?
Nacho.
We have a dog. Big dog that's hiding in the corner over there. Maybe he'll make an appearance a little bit later.
Yeah, maybe later.
But thank you so much for joining us this evening and coming to participate. We actually had planned to meet last year, and we had a few setbacks, and finally, in I guess sort of the worst possible time, we're now able to meet. So
True. Yeah.
Very happy for that. So we usually like to start off with getting to know a little bit about your background and where you come from, and so I guess we'll start with you. Are you from Switzerland? Were you born here, or where do you come from?
I'm originally Austrian. I grew up in Vorarlberg and South Africa as well, so both.
Okay.
I then studied in Vienna, before I was brought to Switzerland. So I've been in Switzerland now for 9 years, but my soul is Austrian.
Okay. But it's 9 years in Switzerland. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yourself.
Yeah.
Maite.
So I'm from Germany, and I'm here for 4.5 years now in Switzerland, and yeah. So I guess we cover all the DACH area. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And growing up, how was your influence when it comes to the startup world? Were you anyone in your family that was also entrepreneurial or that was having their own business, or yourself? Were you? So some of the people I've talked to, they were burning CDs and selling that in school and things like that. Or did you have that startup itch already as a kid?
So I actually grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My dad was an entrepreneur, and my mom also had her own fashion boutique. But in all honesty, I started out a very corporate career.
Yeah.
So, but my sister is an entrepreneur as well, so I always considered myself the black corporate sheep of the family. Before, obviously, the bug hit me too. But it's yeah, I've had a corporate career and was proud of it at the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
we won't ask the same question to everyone, but
okay.
These are the early stage, the earlier
yeah, I
ones,
mean,
yes,
yeah, I mean,
curious to hear
I
about your
think
background as well.
it's pretty exciting, because my father was in the logistics area as well, so I was actually growing up in an entrepreneurial environment as well. So
Okay.
yeah, maybe that's a reason why.
Had some influence.
Yeah.
And I mean, did you travel as much as Aike? I mean, she's like, so one of the questions that we were wondering about is, you know, living in all these different places, is there one particular country that had a bigger influence, or?
It's a very good question. I also lived in San Francisco for a while. I think San Francisco is the one that left the deepest print on my character. I think for the first time I felt really free, and I was able to take that freedom with me when I returned to Europe.
Yeah, amazing. No, that's true. I mean, the culture is so different there. I mean, well, the U.S. culture is already quite different, and then San Francisco is
a whole different level.
And how did you meet? How did you meet Maite?
We met at our former employer, UPC.
Yeah. Okay. And already when you were still working in corporate, did you already have some idea that you would one day be working together? How was that?
No, it was really that we were sitting together, and Maite was just moving to Switzerland, and she was telling me of some issues she had. It's actually, I mean, Maite, if you maybe want to tell the story about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, it was clear for me that I will move to Switzerland, and so I tried to get rid of everything I owned in my flat, and I tried to sell everything. So this was actually the beginning of all the start of Luckabox, to be honest. So we started like, okay, I want to sell something, I want to make money, and I want to ship it as well. But the shipping part is obviously for the private person pretty much a hassle. And yeah, so this was actually the
seed of the idea.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, so I told her about my processes there, and I was like, there has to be someone who's feeling the same pain here. And so we were talking. She's from the IT, I'm from the logistics background. So yeah, this is actually when everything started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, often it is like that. You're trying to solve your own problem. And you realize,
True.
oh, I'm not the only one. There must be.
Plus, I'm very impatient.
Oh yeah.
What was your first impression of Maite?
Of Aike.
Of Aike.
Yeah, I know.
You're not the only
Yeah. My first impression was like, okay, this woman knows what she's talking about. She's tough. She did some crazy things probably, and sorry, but yeah, it was like, okay, I think we can really work together and build something great, and this was pretty clear at the very first minute. Yeah.
How did I mean? So it's often scene and that Luckabox has this nickname of being the Tinder of the transport industry. How did that come about?
That was one of my favorite journalists actually who came up with this with this headline. I think it's very true because we're mixing and matching the best possible service for retailers. So I like it. It sounds sexy. It sounds modern.
But without photos, so that's important.
Yeah,
to
you
say.
might.
You don't get to choose your delivery
No.
partner?
No, not yet.
That's the next feature.
No.
A premium service.
Yes, very premium. Expensive subscription.
Yeah. Besides knowing that it was a pain point for yourself, when did you realize that it was something monetizable? There was a business opportunity there.
That's a very good question because the model that Maite just mentioned that we started out with was actually covering the first mile. We said, okay, we're just going to build an app. You're going to take a picture. Once you sold something on eBay, you take a picture of it and we pick it up and we deliver it into the world. That was the original idea. And we did a pilot and very quickly realized that the unit economics were not there. So we completely turned that business model into the last mile. Also said, okay, our business partners will be businesses, not our customers will be businesses, not end customers. And in the beginning, it was a very slow takeoff because we thought, I mean, McKinsey said, you know, by 2020, 17% of the whole delivery market will be on demand, same day. Everyone is going to need it, but that we realized very quickly it's super slow, and end customers are not willing to pay a lot for it. So, yes, you want your stuff fast, but you're not willing to pay. So we started to experiment with different segments. So we found a good niche in construction logistics, where you need to really be able to deliver things fast, you know, you to not delay projects, etc. So that's for the first time where we saw, okay, there is a high willingness to pay. And yeah, that was actually the beginning. It later on, the whole business model evolved to what we are today. But we've been, it's been a trial and error in different segments. But it wasn't going to be the e-commerce fashion world where we thought. It's just not that.
And for those listening who don't have a logistics background, what do you mean by last mile?
In logistics, when I say we, I'm not a logistics person by background, but you differentiate between the first mile, which is taken from somewhere, and then the last mile is the last step to somebody or to a certain space in time, space basically. That's the last mile. It's the post car that comes to you every day. That's the last mile. And yeah, that's still one of the last unsolved riddle in logistics because it will always be expensive since you have a person. Basically, you're using a person's time. So it will never be as cheap as Amazon makes it out to be, or the Zalandos of this world. It's costly.
And from what I understand, you guys started in your apartment in Papikon, and I guess it's grown a bit since then.
Yeah.
What have been like some of the biggest changes since
then?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I mean, actually, we moved because Papikon was not like, okay, this sounds like a really cool startup place to be.
We also had only one employee at the time, and she was basically working from our sofa.
Yeah, so it actually started like really like in the garage or whatever. But yeah, so we decided to, okay, we really have to move, and we did that to Winterthur. And
what made you choose Winterthur?
By coincidence, actually. Yeah. But yeah, because we had a photo shooting for team shots, and she lived in Winterthur, and we came to her and her place actually, and we were like,
super
wow,
great
it's a
loft.
huge loft, and I was like, wow, I would love to live here. You really want to? Because I'm moving, and I was, okay, let's talk about it. So actually, this was the beginning.
Opportunistic.
Oh yeah. And
so you still live in the loft?
No. I mean, we moved there, and it was private and business in one place at the time. So for 1 year we did that, and then after we had the first employees, like 4 of them already, and I was like, okay, we have to move forward.
Yeah, we did have different living quarters, of course, but we still sometimes opened the door in our bathrobe. So and we had this rule, nobody comes to work before 9 o'clock because it's,
You might not be dressed.
so yeah, we might still be in the shower. But it's since then now we grew quite significantly, of course, in team size, and we have our own designated office space.
And you have your own bathroom now.
Yes, everybody has their own bathroom.
Finally.
How big is the team now?
We're 12 people now.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And when you got your first paying client, how was that? How did that feel like?
Paying client.
Paying.
Oh. I didn't want to talk about paying clients.
We also had paying clients. No, but paying client. Yeah, that came as a surprise. It was a client that called us. He was in a lot of pain, and he said, "Please help." And then we said, "Well, we're not even founded yet. We could probably set something up." And then we did, and then it was great. And that's when it started. The second client was Steg Computers,
Right.
so quite a big brand where we knew, okay, now it's over playing children's games.
Yeah. But then, at that time, were you still working in corporate?
Yes.
And so how was that, juggling your corporate job and doing a startup?
I think what helped
How would
me.
How would you, what advice would you give to other people? Because there's a lot of people who are still in corporate,
Yeah.
wanting to start, knowing when to make the jump.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. Well, when I was at UPC, I was doing an MBA, an executive MBA on the side while working 100%. So while this definitely was very, very nerve-wracking, it probably built a muscle to work hard and
Right.
work long hours. And that's also why it was okay for me once the MBA was done to really work on Luckabox at night and on the weekend. The advice and the moment to jump, I think, is a critical one, because especially if you have a corporate career, you have a certain living standard, you have a certain salary, drive a certain car. And well, if you're me, you do. But it turned out that I needed quite some time to actually reduce my living costs before I could say, okay, I want to put my salary on the Luckabox, on Luckabox back and not have Luckabox break down.
Yeah.
So it took me more than a year. I think it took me more than a year to really take the full plunge. Maite was working full time, I think, for almost a year already.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bold move, but it was necessary. It was also tearing me apart. I couldn't deliver at UPC what I hope nobody from UPC, but I couldn't deliver the quality that I wanted to deliver because I was already torn and I wanted to deep dive into my baby, so yeah.
And Maite, you had several different roles in logistics before starting Luckabox.
Yeah.
What's different in Luckabox that's not the same in
And Audi. What's different to Audi, for instance?
Yeah, so I was working in several areas in the supply chain management, but actually, to be honest, Luckabox, because we have zero assets, like we don't have our own drivers, we don't have a warehouse, we don't have cars, and so this is actually the hugest differentiator you can have, because we only have this platform, and it's amazing because I'm not from the IT, so I was pretty amazed how much you can do and organize everything. Without all these
with
assets,
tech.
and only with the tech, and so this is fun.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course the team, we are not that many people, and you can achieve but much more.
What about the pace? How would you compare the pace at Audi or Hellman to the one that we're currently living?
It's crazy. I mean, it's not for everybody. So the pace it's crazy. Everything happens so fast, and there are so many highlights and lowlights every day, every single day. So it's crazy.
A good crazy.
A good crazy.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about fundraising for Luckabox. I guess you recently closed a big round, but you had some seed rounds before.
Yes. we actually, the way we had a pre-seed, a seed, and a pre-Series A round, and we're currently raising we just kicked off our Series A fundraising.
Yeah.
The question is, what would you like to hear about fundraising? It's a huge topic.
Well, somewhere you said that you pitched 64 times before you got your first investment.
Yes.
So I guess a little bit about the very, pitching for the first time, getting your first seed round in or pre-seed.
Yeah, so pitching for the first time is nerve-wracking, probably until the 100th time. It's the way I do it now is much nicer because I'm not on stage anymore. So I'm pitching usually in one-on-one situations or maybe smaller groups. But in the beginning, of course, you need to get yourself out there. You just need to make yourself known. You need to present yourself wherever you can. Take every opportunity to get to know potential investors. We went to a lot of startup events at the time that they were still, held. It was just amazing to get to know people, build a network, and especially build a circle of mentors and startup founders who've done fundraising before successfully. So always, gather people around you that have done the things you want to achieve. That's what helped me a lot. And I have a lot of very successful female entrepreneurs around me, which often is obviously a scarcity, I hear. My world is surrounded by female entrepreneurs. It's basically all about relationship management. Build a relationship with the investors and ideally have some traction.
Right.
Yeah.
And then last year you closed a larger, that was a Series A or
Pre-Series A.
Pre-Series A. How much, or is that public, how much you raised?
It's not.
Okay. But it was a significant amount.
Yeah.
And so that's already in the next level kind of fundraising. It's or is it always the same? Does it matter if you're raising 100,000 or 100 million?
People say it doesn't matter. And I think as you grow and as the tickets grow, it really stops mattering. It's the technique is the same, the process is the same. If not, some people even say it gets easier.
Right.
Because you have a lot of experience and you probably have created some trust in the community. But yeah, the Series A round will be even more significant, and let's see.
And what do you plan? What's the plans for that?
We wanna close by Q2, and we've just started. So usually it takes us around 5 to 6 months, and usually the plan is always off, but
it's part of the plan.
Yeah, it's part of the plan is that the plan is off. No, but this time we're raising really early. We used to raise late-ish, and it always got really, really close. Yeah. And it's
But you want to then expand into other markets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we definitely want to expand into other markets. We're following up with one opportunity in Germany, a very, very big opportunity. Hopefully, it realizes the way it's planned, and it's been talked about at around Easter. It will most likely be the DACH area first, unless we have a very interesting opportunity somewhere else. Right. So I'm not saying we're completely opportunistic, but there are markets that are very attractive.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to closing a deal like that, so not necessarily related to fundraising, but to getting these deals with the distributors, how is that as far as gaining the trust of these market players when you're so new in this field?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like if you're trying to partner with, I don't know, what's it called? What's some of these big post distributors or DHL, things like that?
We partnered with DHL Post for deliveries. Yeah. But in terms of, are you talking about closing clients?
Well, it's because there's a lot of regulation and you're a new player in an old market.
Yeah.
True.
And so, what has been your experience for getting into this without as much reputation as you might need?
At the beginning, we actually didn't focus on the big players because we wanted to be different and wanted to support the smaller ones, like the regional bike couriers, the SME carrier in Switzerland. So at the beginning it was, I wouldn't say easy, but it would be probably easier to have this done this way than directly go to the Swiss Post or the huge guys. And so it was pretty easy because we were on the same level, I would say. Of course, they didn't hear about Luckabox or anything else. But they were like, yeah, why not? The idea is cool, and we didn't have to lose anything, so if it doesn't work out or something. So it was pretty easy to talk to them to just start. And later on, then we started to go to the bigger ones because obviously we opened up our product portfolio, and so then it was easier. And then actually, I mean, at the beginning it was an open conversation, and then you have to deliver, of course. But when you say, yeah, we have 10,000 packages a month, then you have to deliver these ones. So otherwise, so yeah.
And did you face any challenges? From what I've heard, what I've seen, it seems to be a pretty male-dominated industry when it comes to logistics. And two young ladies showing up and saying we're going to deliver thousands of packages. What were the challenges around that? And have you seen a change in that in the time that you've built Luckabox?
That's my favorite question.
Yeah.
The gender question.
Go first.
Yeah, it's. I've never.
Good cop, bad cop.
No,
no, it's not.
No, but it's. This is always a very difficult question because when you grow up as a woman, you don't think you're growing up as a woman. You're just growing up.
Okay.
And when you start a startup, you're not starting a startup as a woman. You're just starting a company. So we've never experienced anything negative because we were women in the space. Mm-hmm. Were we the only women most of the time? Definitely. But were we treated with less respect or anything in that direction? Not at all. Okay. Not at all. Mm-hmm. Plus, I think Maite, with her background, I mean, she does, when she speaks about logistics, you can hear she knows what she's talking about. Me, not so much. I've learned a lot, but it's clear that she knows what she's talking about, and that brings the respect that we needed. Mm.
Yeah, and that actually matters. I mean, I had this experiences in I would say older logistics companies, but yeah, then you just do your job. And right. But I have to say that since Luckabox and the experience here, it's much more easier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's open-minded.
So would you say it's a matter of owning your expertise and just being confident? And
yeah. Be good at what you do, and you'll earn the respect. Yeah,
just like anyone else has to.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
And it seems that you guys did a tryout with some cooking or something like that. You opened a restaurant, or you had some kind of experience with in the food industry?
No.
Food industry, no.
No? Mm-hmm. Okay, then...
Misinformed.
Misinformed.
No, speak to your informant about this. This is wrong.
But do you like to cook?
Yeah, I do. I don't get to cook much, but sometimes I do. Yeah.
Then we have a question from the public, if you want.
Yes, of course.
Can you describe your business model with an example, and where is the benefit for the customer, and where does your own profit come from? You may have to repeat the question in the mic.
Were you able to follow that? Okay, so did you get the
I did. Mm-hmm. What's the business model? What's the benefit for our customers, and how do we profit from it? Regular pitching questions.
Go.
The business model is actually a very simple platform approach. We call the business model currently is a last mile digital forwarder, meaning the benefit for customers is that since today they have several different carriers usually connected to their system, we're offering them one system, and the system manages all the other carriers. So what they have, one single access, one dashboard where they have a 360 view over their complete last mile in real time. That's the benefit. There's a lot of time saving and a lot of nerve saving. The money flows as follows. We buy capacity from our courier partners, and basically sell that capacity via the technology. And we take a matchmaking fee. That's pretty much the system. It's basically, you could also say it's Airbnb for deliveries.
Okay.
Yeah.
One way.
And I hope that clarifies for the listeners. Is there anyone else with a question?
Not for the moment, I don't have any.
I would have one.
Speak loud.
How do you deal with the challenges of home office?
That's a good one. It's me personally. I like home office every now and then, but I really miss being around the team.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've now, actually tomorrow night we have a game night with the whole team where we play games to make sure that, it's actually our first evening tomorrow, but to make sure that we do not always work so hard. It seems like when everyone is in home office, everyone is so on point, productive, focused. It's work. And there's just not enough fun. So we hope to bring the fun back with that before
Online,
our next big party.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of something, but before that, I've heard, or I was wondering if you use your massage skills in the office. Does everyone get free massages?
Where did you find out about that? No, actually, I don't practice anymore.
Okay.
It wasn't very lucrative the way I did it, so. But that was research well done. Yeah.
So no free massages from the
No.
boss?
For the dog. The dog gets a massage every
Yeah,
month.
it's all of that. But yeah, I did hear that you, pre-corona, had some pretty fun office parties.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah.
And we were we have something cooking as soon as we are able to have a party again, and it's going to be massive. I can't wait. Yeah.
And then I guess that's work hard, play hard philosophy that you have.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more work hard than play hard, I have to say, currently. But yeah, we've had some amazing parties, and yeah, we haven't had them for a while now.
Yeah.
So I hope that once we close the next round and Corona is calming down a bit and like loosening up, so we can have another party.
Mm. And speaking of company culture, where did the no asshole policy come from?
I think it was you. I mean, I think
it
it just growed out of experiences and.
So what does it mean?
Yeah, I mean, we want to have fun actually. So everybody is like open-minded, and of course you can have arguments and stuff. But I think for every involved party, it has to be a good business. It has to be fun, and yeah. So no asshole politics makes or this rule actually means that we want to. I don't know how to explain
No,
it.
I can easily explain it.
Because it was from you, actually.
Because I just actually enjoyed watching you struggle with this question. No, I'm sorry. No, but this is something that's very dear to my heart. I even have a spreadsheet where I have the customers and partners in, and it has certain categories. And there's something called the cringe factor.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel when this person calls you?
Mm.
And for me, it's. We just really want to create a non-toxic environment. And for me, that also means if you insult somebody of our team, you insult the whole company, and why should we go ahead with you? I know some investors might be on the call. I actually saw some of their names. But it's something that's really important for the quality and the output also that our team delivers. If we deal with respectful customers as well as partners, then it's fun and it just shows in the quality. I'm deeply convinced.
Yeah.
And yet there are always voices that say, well, it's, you need to grow up, Aike, this is naive, you need this it's business, it's tough, deal with it, deal with assholes. But I don't want to.
Right.
And I don't believe in having to deal with assholes.
And how do you imagine growing the culture of your company, especially now with the next round, wanting to expand, going from your first employee on your sofa to your first office to now, soon you might have 50 or 100 employees, and maintaining that culture and the the feeling, the vibe that you have?
Yeah, currently all new employees go through assessment centers where they actually do a huge part. Actually, there are two parts. One is on the technical side, their expertise. The other part is purely on values and ethics. Mm-hmm. And they need to present to us on how our values resonate for them, and if they, and I think it's at that point you feel if it's a fit or not. And I strongly believe that the first 10 employees need to deeply how do you say, live the values to really have it grow and not water it down. It's something we really need to watch out for, but I think if you have a sense for it, then you can see if somebody is not in alignment with your values.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Backing up a little bit, what advice would you give to a younger you?
How young? What age?
I don't know, in your early 20s.
Oh my God, cut the bullshit would probably be the advice.
The headline.
5 years ago, right?
That's basically last year. In my early 20s. I think I would advise myself to keep having the fun that I was having, maybe not to the excess that I did. But yeah, I mean, everything I experienced, made me who I am today. But yeah, maybe taking things a little less serious would be some advice, and worry a little less. Yeah, and to party a little less. But that I didn't know what life is, what life is about at all.
No, me neither.
20s were, oh my God, don't want to be 20 again. 30, yes. So last month.
And Maite?
I mean, for me, it's like, party less, maybe, yeah.
But you didn't even party so much. You were such a good girl.
You don't know everything, so no, whatever. Well, yeah, I think I had this crazy idea in mind back then, because I was at the university and I had this huge picture of myself being in a huge company and managing role, and so this startup area was not in the picture at all, not even close. And I would tell myself probably open up your mind and be more open about this area as well, because I had this small picture of myself in a corporate, and I was in this direction, but then Aike happened, and
that's what I hear a lot.
Yeah, and no, but I think in this area just to be more open-minded about the future, actually, because I was all about corporate job, earning money, but it's not that. Yeah.
Didn't cross my mind either. I sometimes envy is a strong word, but sometimes it's real envy. We have startup entrepreneurs around ourselves that are in their early 20s and that are rocking startups. It's amazing to have the mindset to build something at such an early age. I mean, imagine where there are, just think of where they could be in their 30s. Right. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Yeah. And I've been hanging around in corporates. So.
And then you had to get rid of it all.
Yes, I did. I had to undo a lot of learning.
But then even within Luckabox, I guess there's already, even as such a young company, there is already an idea for a spin-off. But then it seems like that didn't pan out. It was related to micro-mobility or something like that, with the scooters and things.
Yes. Painful chapter.
Okay. Yeah. So is that like a fail fast kind of?
From my perspective, we didn't fail fast enough, but luckily we survived. It was a huge entrepreneurial opportunity. It was just such a huge hype, and everybody wanted to be part of it. And we just happened to be part of it, because one of our sales guys at the time, he just sniffed out opportunities wherever he walked. He was a crazy sales dog, and he brought us it was Lime at the time, who was in Zurich. It was the first city they started in, and we just provided their logistics, and it grew and it grew and it grew to a level where we just couldn't handle it anymore. We were operative in 3 countries, I think 10 or 12 cities,
4 countries,
handling thousands of scooters daily. It was nuts, and it was just the market was very volatile, and there was a lot of competition, and we basically lost territory. It was a territory game, and we lost territory every day, and we had to pull out very, very quickly to survive.
So I guess the biggest learning would be, because often you say the companies who do something well, it's because they're focused on one thing. At the same time, as an entrepreneur, you see an opportunity, you want to make money, you want to go for it, you don't want to lose opportunities, and you're, especially, I know myself as well, every time I see something shiny, I'm like wanting to grab that. So is it really about focus, or how do you manage or mitigate, the balance between opportunities and staying focused on your core competence?
It's a very difficult question.
It is.
We've been asked a zillion times, would you do it again? And yes, we probably would, because the opportunity on the table, the contracts that we had signed were just huge.
Right.
And many investors at the time were also just, this is amazing, just go for it. And of course, it's now easy to say you shouldn't have done it. But I think we would do it a little more carefully now. I think we would deeply dive into the financials a lot more. But the point is, at that time, that was such a bubble, and nobody knew where it was going to go. The funds, the rounds that were raised by those players at the time, which is, I mean, it's very similar to the instant food market right now. By the way, it's blowing up immensely, and it could have gone out. It could have played out just perfectly. And we could have become the next unicorn in logistics, but it just didn't happen. But it's difficult. We learned a lot. Yeah. We learned a lot.
And speaking of investors, do you have an exit strategy?
I mean...
Or what would be your advice when because a lot of people, they start a startup and think, this is my baby, I'm going to live with it until the end of it. And others have this more 10-year plan to build something, and then they want to build something new. But as soon as you take someone else's money, you need to figure out how to get it back to them. So how do you approach the concept of an exit?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, you need to try, and you need to focus, or your plan should be to build a sustainable business. I've met people that are just building one startup after the other, already have the buyer in mind, and start to talk to the buyer before they even found the company. That's a strategy, of course. That's currently not our strategy. We do have some exit scenarios that we're playing with in our head, and we do make sure that it is a route that is potentially possible. But we're also trying to focus on building a strong business, a healthy business. Yeah. And I have moments where I'm thinking, okay, this could actually maybe be a company that we hand down to, my children at some point. I don't have any yet, but, and then I have moments where I'm saying, see, that's not just entrance now. Of course, you also go into a startup because you want to make money at some point, and it's either going to be by earnings or by a very good exit. Right.
Yeah. And a question, if you want? Yes. We have a question from the audience.
Please, Nick, I'll edit a little bit because I think we cover some of it. Where do you see the last mile world after COVID-19 in Switzerland?
It's a good. Also again,
Max, do you see any differences across cantons?
Ooh.
We are not that Swiss.
No, but that's always a touchy question. Yeah. So the first question was, what will the last mile be after COVID? Yeah. Right? Magst du oder soll ich? Ich habe. Okay. I think the pandemic changed the last mile game forever. And it didn't only change the last mile game for end consumers, it predominantly changed it for retailers who have severely felt the pain of not being able to deliver as flexibly as needed. Mm-hmm. So we had so many customers that were in so much pain because they said, listen guys, I don't get my goods to the customers and it might be killing me. And there's a huge shift towards more digitalization and also digitization. We need to differentiate between that. But there's definitely a huge mindset change. It's almost a paradigm shift that the last mile, retailers need last mile capabilities that are outstanding. And the second question was?
What differences do you see across cantons? You can use the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, I'm using. I'm pledging the Fifth.
Okay, but for now, that's it.
I would have another question. I don't know. Can you hear me? Is it okay? Yeah. We, being part of the startup desk here, I would be wondering how can law firms help startups at the beginning? Because you obviously were in Swiss. You moved to Switzerland. Mm-hmm. How did you feel? How do you choose a law firm, and where would you feel they can support you better?
We have a very close connection to our lawyer, actually. We met our first lawyer at a startup event. It was Kellerhals Karat at the time, and we visited one of his talks, Karim's talks, mm-hmm. Karim Maisa, and it was just so helpful for us to finally see, okay, I get a lot of answers there. So mm-hmm. I approached him after his talk, and we signed up, we arranged an appointment. And that was also the company that helped us found the company. They advised us on how to found, what we need to get in order, in order to be founded, what it takes, and it's actually one of their lawyers who's still by our side today. Very important, a good lawyer, very, very important. Yes, it might be costly, but don't save money there.
Yep.
More questions from the public. This is from Lior or Lior, I'm not sure. Who are your top competitors in Switzerland and in Germany? And what is your competitive edge compared to them?
Our biggest competitor in Switzerland is, I would say, No Time, who belong to the Swiss Post today, or since a couple of months now. And the other one is, I would say, Anna Now, because they focus on instant delivery as well. And so I would say this covers, mm-hmm. I would say Switzerland. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, Germany is hard to tell, to be honest, because there are a lot of other players, yes. But they are pretty different and local. And one of them, called Lifery, is actually closed down.
Has been dissolved just now by Hermes, by one of their main investors.
Yeah, so I think there are huge opportunities here in Germany.
It's a tough space.
But yeah, it is a tough space because you can think that the last mile delivery or same day delivery area is so close, and there are so many players. And what is the USP actually? And that is a good question. And
that's where you hand over the word to me, right?
Totally.
Luckabox USP by far is the quality and the reliability of our logistics system. Our system works in a push mechanism, meaning that our partners, once the algorithm has chosen them, are obliged basically or bound to deliver. So there's, it's not like Uber where there's a pull scenario, the driver sits somewhere, oh, I got a delivery, I don't feel like it. Okay, that's not happening. Mm-hmm. So we have a seriously very, very high quality currently in deliveries, and that we can only assure that by being very close with our partners, but also have very, very reliable partners. The other thing that differentiates us is definitely that we're a last mile forwarder. We're not just a service provider. So what we offer our customers is that we manage the carrier partnerships for them. So if they're saying I'm not happy with a carrier in Bern, for instance, we just exchange them until the retailer is happy. So that there's this added. It's also last mile as a service, basically.
Question from me. How did you build this system? As I hear it has an edge on the technology side. How did you go about that?
We just have the best devs.
Just what to say. It's
I don't know how they built it. It astonishes me every time when I see how it works. To me, it's still magic. We have very bright, a very bright team. Seriously, bright heads. Almost, I would call some of them brilliant. And they just, what they do is they solve riddles, right? And they solved the riddle. As easy as it sounds.
In Switzerland.
In Switzerland.
Yeah.
Then I have another question from the public, from Werner this time. Besides more funds, what are the top 2 things on your wish list to make these a long-term sustainable success? And how many years do you do you give yourself for that?
Besides funds, I think what we need is more great talent to really professionalize and scale the business. We've hired some top talent just lately that are joining us very soon. I can't wait. We have a big scalability topic that is a riddle that we're currently solving to really make it scalable, like worldwide, basically. What was the second question? Sorry.
How long you give yourself?
We currently have a 5-year plan. A very aggressive expansion plan.
Thank you.
And then what do you do to balance, the work-life balance?
Work balance?
The work balance. How do you find balance in your personal life?
For me, it's going out with the dog, be outside, doing outdoor activities, and yoga as well. So I really do yoga mostly every morning and meditate. So this is something I do or try to do, and just take some time, step back, reflect, and just deal with the craziness.
That's so grown up.
I know.
So yoga bores me. I like it though, but it's too little action for me. So I'm more
Go to the shooting range? Or?
No.
She would.
I would probably. No, it's more action sports. I really like I like danger in a sport to force me to be present.
So what?
It's downhill mountain biking.
Okay.
Free ride skiing. Yeah, those are my biggest passions probably.
Which is nice because it's you can still do that now in Corona.
Yes, it's very nice. But yeah.
You just have to do it, right?
Yeah, you just have to walk up. No, you can still do it.
Yeah. How do you motivate your employees? What are a few top tips for keeping your team inspired and motivated?
There's nothing I do to motivate the team per se. It's not that I have an action plan or a to-do list on how to motivate.
Speech.
What I think it's a very good question. I don't know what do we do.
Actually, we just try to have a positive atmosphere and be there and not only talk about work, because the private life does also matter. And
I think, talking about motivation, it's internal, right? Motivation. I think the team that we currently have is very motivated by the successes that we have. We have big downs and failures as well, but they just usually bring us closer. But I think the team is motivated because we're going somewhere, and things are happening and things are evolving, and there's no standstill ever.
Yeah.
But as I said, there's nothing we do to. Sometimes we have town halls, but very, very rarely, where we just, tell them where we want to go. Next week we have a big strategy workshop where we're going to create the future together. But I think you need the team that's self-motivated. It's not that we have the time to sit there and motivate people. I think they're driven.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that ties into your hiring strategy.
Yeah.
And it starts there, and then you get the right team on board.
Yeah.
And the rest.
You need hungry people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what advice would you have for someone or a founder, entrepreneur who's wearing several hats?
Which founder is not wearing several hats?
I just wanted to ask that. Yeah, we still do. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So
there has to be some point on the journey where you give up your one hat and give it to a person who is 1,000% better than you in this area. Yeah. So it is really about the hiring process and find the right person and make things better than you. Of course, at the beginning, you do everything. I mean, I was doing marketing. I never did something like this. But so it has to be done. And and then
you were even doing facility management, HR, everything.
Yeah, so there has to be a point sometime when you just give your hat to another person. And,
it's also a very, very good learning curve. I mean,
totally.
if you are a founder, and yes, I mean, in the beginning you wear 10 hats, right? Yeah. And at some point, I mean, currently I'm probably wearing 4 hats. And when you grow, I mean, you learn things you would never have thought you learn, because you have to. If you don't learn those things, you're not going to get anywhere. So, but what Maite said, it was just perfectly said. You get to a point where somebody else is much better. And you need to get a professional, experienced person doing this, and not your semi-half-assed, try, which works to a certain extent. But that's also, of course, it's a scaling. It's a scaling issue, the growth issue.
Which is a good thing to have.
It is. Yeah. But it's. You need.
But it's also scary to let go of that responsibility.
No,
of course.
No. It's a relief.
When you have the right people.
You need the right person. That's true. But it's there's somebody joining us very soon that I'm very, very, very happy about, and he's going to be a huge relief.
That's good. That's nice. So anything else from that side? We're coming slowly towards the end. I mean, I think we could have gone on for quite a bit longer, but it's really interesting. It's been really cool to hear your story and the experiences. And we have something that's called rapid fire questions, which is a little bit different in the sense that there's no right or wrong answer, and ideally the first thing that comes to mind. So we try to keep it snappy.
Ooh.
And in this case, there's 10 questions, so we'll just do one and ask one and then the other, and
It's like first association, basically.
Could be.
Okay.
So since you asked, I'll start with you then.
Yeah, of course. Fire, of course.
What's one item you own that you would never sell?
It's probably pictures of my family.
Mm-hmm. What's your most unusual skill?
I'm doing really good the dishes.
And what's more important, like strength, speed, or stamina?
Stamina.
Which historical figure do you admire, current or past?
Oh wow, Steve Jobs.
And your favorite season of the year?
Winter.
When was the last time that you tried something new?
Actually, on the 1st of January, it was what's a
Langlauf.
Langlauf?
Okay, nice.
Skiing.
Cross country skiing.
Yeah.
Nice. Team or single founder?
Team.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs, obviously.
Beer or wine?
Oof.
You said currently neither, but
Yeah, currently neither.
generally speaking.
Beer.
And favorite app on your phone?
WhatsApp.
It's Instagram.
It's not.
And what's something on your bucket list?
Pooh. Bucket list. I don't know. Can't think of anything right now.
Snap.
Yeah, this is a
Hike
difficult
down
question.
the Kilimanjaro, or is that too high?
No, what used to be on my bucket list was actually hike up to the base camp of Mount Everest.
Mhm.
But I think I'm not that crazy anymore. So I can't answer your question.
That's fine.
Pledging the fifth.
And if you could have the attribute of any animal, what would you choose?
To fly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Have you tried Birdly?
No.
The VR flying machine?
No.
It's pretty cool. It's
Oh,
a
yeah?
Swiss,
Okay.
It's a Swiss startup.
Yeah, I heard of them.
Yeah.
It's like when you lying
Yeah.
on
I've seen
there.
that too.
Yeah, okay.
And you really feel like it. And when it goes down, you feel in your...
Oh wow.
The gravity.
Yes.
I'm gonna try that one.
That's really cool. Thank you so much for joining us this
Thanks for
evening
having
and
us.
for coming here all the way, and
Our pleasure.
yeah, for your openness and everything that you shared. It was really interesting, and really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you also to
The whole
The
team.
audience.
thank you to Prager Dreyfus for hosting us, and to all of the participants who were on the call as well, and the questions that we received. And as was announced, I don't know if everyone saw the email, but Prager Dreyfus has a startup desk, and so the idea is that if you have questions, this one, if you have questions related to legal, IP and strategy, things like that, let us know and we'll put you in touch with the startup desk. And with that, I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we're looking forward to soon being able to have in-person live
Yeah.
events again.
Yay!
So thank you all and have a wonderful evening.
Yay! Cool.